from the backstretch at historic Saratoga Racecourse, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. When you can't make it to the track, make it to the Clubhouse Racebook. CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America on this Friday morning, live from Saratoga on really a gorgeous Friday morning. If you were watching the handicapping show, you saw the horses working out behind us with the nice bright sunlight on a bright sunny day. Blue skies, temperatures are really nice. Humidity is down. This is really one of the better days so far of the season. If you're headed up, you will have a fun afternoon. And if you're tuning in for the rest of the show, a fun hour as well. Coming up a little bit later on, our friend John Piassek, down with Yonkers now, but obviously still focused on Maryland. We talked to him a lot about Maryland racing. He does some handicapping for theracingbiz.com on the Maryland circuit. But we'll catch up with John and maybe some ideas up here today, but also a look at Maryland racing as well and what's going on down there with Timonium coming up. Enzo Tirino will join us as well. Therapeutic Horses of Saratoga. They have the community booth today. They do great work, obviously, with retired racehorses. They also have a farm tour tomorrow. We'll hit on that and more. Satins and Silks, the 5K run comes up towards the end of the meet. That's that benefits THS. So we'll talk about all of that as the show progresses. But we're going to kick things off. Should be a lot of fun. Jose Santos Jr., a guy who is, as I was doing my research last night, I heard it again, and I've heard it plenty of times in the past, has kind of revolutionized the jockey agent game. We've had him in before. It's always a fun conversation. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very good.
Awesome.
And for folks who haven't been tuned in before, give us a little background. Again, Jose Santos Jr., you are the son of Jose Santos. Folks may remember a great career, but obviously folks may remember funny side and remember you standing by him as a little kid then. But talk a little bit about growing up in the game and then transitioning into where you are now.
Yeah, I mean, horse racing's been my only passion as long as I can remember. So got to grow up in it, obviously, with my father having the career he had. So I was super lucky. I got to learn from everybody, but just watching and learning here at Saratoga every summer. I mean, I spent every single summer here, got to go around. My father, fortunately, took me everywhere that he went, and I got a lot of really great experiences. And fortunately, I paid attention because it was something I cared about and found my path as a jockey's agent. And it's my passion. I love my job.
And the kicker is also you became a jockey agent at age 16?
Yeah, 16 years old. I got my license at Calder Racecourse and grew up in South Florida. So would do it in the summer times then. Went to Bellarmine University in Louisville, Kentucky. So that got me to Kentucky. I got moved up there and it was 3 miles away from Churchill Downs, and it wasn't too long till I was on the racetrack instead, and started full-time as a jockey's agent at 19 years old, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
And we talked about, revolutionizing the game, and we say that because a lot of jockeys agents have one or maybe two jocks on a particular circuit. You have a number of jockeys all across the country, essentially. Before we get into them specifically, just talk a little bit about what light bulb moment brought you to that.
It was always something in the back of my mind. What it was I felt like I was doing extremely detailed work for the one rider or two riders I had on a singular circuit. And for the rest of the day, I just had a bunch of stuff to do. So I was like, I've really got a lot of time on my hands. And before I started doing well as a jockey's agent, that was about 2018. I had it in my mind to chart races for agents, and then I would sell condition books. That's kind of what I wanted to do, but I wanted to do it for multiple circuits across America so I could kind of have a lot of business doing it. And when COVID happened, I was like, well, this is my opportunity to do it all by myself. By that point, I had lived in Kentucky. I'd lived in Florida, obviously. Knew enough people here in New York. I'd lived in Louisiana. I'd lived in Iowa, Oklahoma City. I've been to enough places to where I knew everybody. I was like, if I just get riders and work from these places from afar during COVID, since we weren't allowed on the backside, I could try to get this going, and fortunately worked out.
Let's talk about specifically where you are now, because I pulled up a shot from your website that shows the 2026 summer racing circuits. We also have a shot of some of your jockeys. Raylu Gutierrez, Chris Elliott, and Manny Esquivel are 3. But again, your summer racing circuit: Saratoga, Colonial, Ellis, Horseshoe Indy, Gulfstream, Presque Isle, Finger Lakes, Remington. Talk a little bit about the jockey colony that you oversee.
Yeah, they're all great guys. Like I'm extremely fortunate. I think the one I've been working with the shortest amount of time is Rajiv. We just hooked up in January, but I've been with a lot of these guys for a really long time. Oh, Saheen as well. Saheen and I just hooked up at Presque Isle, but he rides at Woodbine full time. And then anytime there's like a stake or a horse from the States where I think, it's a live one, he'll come down and ride it at Presque Isle. He's a really nice guy, super talented rider as well. But yeah, I've got a really good crew of guys, hardworking people, which I need on my end. I'm obviously not there every day to coordinate and make sure that things aren't missed. So if I send them a schedule, I have to have faith that their people are going to show up. And fortunately, that's exactly what I have.
I was going to ask you about Saheen because he is a Woodbine rider, and so you take care of him when he's. I do
his stuff here at Presque Isle. Yes.
And name some of the other jockeys. You mentioned Rajiv Marai. Said when you sat down, you should bring him up here. I'd love to have him sit in. He's an interesting guy. Took a little time away, started a couple of businesses, and now back doing a little riding. And he's bouncing back and forth a couple of venues. Colonial he's been riding at, and Gulfstream as well. A few of your jocks are kind of bouncing around.
Summertime, you kind of have to. There's Monday through Wednesday at some of these places. Like Chris and Raylu will do Monday through Wednesday at the Finger Lakes. Come over here and finish at Saratoga for the week. Manny Esquivel, for instance, he rides at Indiana Monday through Wednesday. Then Thursday through Sunday, we'll go over to Colonial. So just in the summertime and the wintertime, a lot of people's businesses spread out. So you gotta travel if you want to keep it together. And fortunately, I work with people who are extremely hardworking, and they're willing to do what they need to do to make sure that we have a great fall.
Yeah, no, I appreciated when I saw, because we make a couple of trips to Finger Lakes every year in the spring and in the fall, and we see some of those guys up there. But I like that they're hungry enough. They're out there at the Finger Lakes for a few days and then come back and ride here. Saw Chris Elliott in the I think it was riding a Jimmy Ryerson horse. Didn't he win a stake?
Yes. Cosmic Candy Girl. Yeah, that was awesome.
And saw him there and kind of said, always great to win up here at Saratoga, and you win a race like that.
Sure.
And he's kind of a young up and coming guy. So how do you get connected with jockeys?
It happens all different kinds of ways. I could run you through it. Manny Esquivel, I got hooked up with Manny trying to get him to go to Turfway. Or trying to get him to go to Oaklawn, and he was on board with it. And last minute, he was like, "I'm going to stay at Turfway, but you can still be my agent." And that was 4.5 years ago. So I went after him because I really liked his riding, and I'd heard good things about his work ethic. Raylu, he was a guy I chased for like 7 or 8 months, trying to get him to move actually from New York to Texas. At the time, it was around COVID, like the year after COVID. I just kind of felt like his career needed a reboot, and I thought it would be a good place for him to go and start trying to win some races and shoot off from there.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, he is. Great guy. Yeah. Great guy, hardworking dude, and just like super friendly.
Yeah.
Chris Elliott, I've been his only agent. I watched him win his first race, and I reached out to him, and we've been connected ever since. Rajiv reached out to me. He was just kind of looking for something different, and we were able to hook up. Same with Saheen. He knew he was going back to Woodbine. He was like, I want to have someone at Presque Isle, and if you would handle that. So that's worked out well. And then Amir Mendoza, we brought him in from Panama. He was the leading apprentice in Panama, and his agent reached out to me and asked if I'd be willing to sign his papers as a sponsor and bring him in. And that's what we did. We brought him in November with goals of being ready for the Oaklawn meet in December. So got him a job with Joe Sharp for a month, galloping horses, and then he was ready to go by the time Oaklawn came, and had a great meet, and now he's at Horseshoe Indianapolis doing really well.
Excellent. And you mentioned Elliott. You had him from the start. I'd never thought about that before, but how do you connect, or how do they connect to you when a kid is thinking, I want to start being a jockey?
Yeah. I've had people call me like, what's the advice of like how to become a jockey? There's really all different kinds of ways with it. With Chris, fortunately, his father was teaching him. So, and his uncle as
Yeah,
well. So
yeah.
I didn't have to do any of those steps, but I've worked that Texas Oklahoma circuit for a while where Stewart's riding. So that's where Chris was at the time with his family. And he got a start at Lone Star. And we all knew that Chris was going to be riding. So I was tuned in for the race and I watched him ride. I was like, this guy, like, for a first race, it was extremely impressive. I'm like, he's got a lot of talent. And I knew his family. So I was like, you know, he's going to be a well-rounded. Yeah, and he's got a well-rounded personality too. So I reached out to him immediately and asked him if I could be his agent. By the time he got back to the jocks room, he checked his phone, and 10 minutes later, he called me. He's like, yeah, that'd be great. And here we are now in Saratoga.
Yeah, like I said, never thought of that before, though. So if somebody does start out, they don't have to have an agent, right?
No.
So, and normally, I would guess
I would
if
say
you're
normally they wouldn't.
Yeah, if you're an apprentice, you're probably riding in the mornings for somebody, and you maybe get the rides that way.
Yeah.
So at that point, then agents will kind of
start
reaching
two
or three rides in. It's like, oh, okay,
yeah.
Which totally makes sense. Take us through. I'm curious because again, you are booking jockeys at the list. I had 8 different tracks at this time of year. Take us through what a typical day is like for you.
Yeah, I do a lot of my computer work Monday through Wednesday. Just kind of going through the charts from the week that happened before. I can usually rattle through all of the racetracks that I need to in like a 2 to 3 day span. Start making lists of people to reach out to, and from there, watching the races pretty much throughout the rest of the week. Of course, I've got some early weekday racing as well, but it's not as much as it is during the weekend, so I can watch that and also get done what I'm needing to get done. But a lot of just handling entries, you know, on the phone, reaching out to people, making sure everything's going well with my riders, making sure the schedules went well, checking in how the horses worked. So,
and if folks who don't know the nuts and bolts of a jockey's agent work, like, are you ever live in the racing office over here when they, pull in the morning, or are you doing it all kind of phone or Zoom? Haven't they kind of transitioned to Zoom at a lot of the racing offices?
Yeah, most of them do Zoom draw. The tracks that I work at that don't would be Indianapolis and Finger Lakes. They don't, but at the Finger Lakes, the overnight's not final, so you can make changes after the overnight. Whereas like Indianapolis, the overnight is final. I have someone who I work with over there named Anthony Montadoro. He actually helped me with Christopher here in New York when he was an apprentice, and then he went down with Amir, kind of be there for him because he was new into the country and all that, and he's been a massive help. So fortunately, he's there at the draw in Indianapolis.
So give folks, again, who aren't familiar with what a jockey agent does, what do you do as the races are getting pulled?
Yeah, I'm just making sure that everything's going smoothly at that point, because we have by then already entered in the race. So just, it's clerical errors. Sometimes anything happens.
Yeah.
Horse won't be pulled out of the draw, so I'll make sure that hey, we entered this horse.
So you're looking in the condition book, and you're kind of already knowing who might be entered and whatnot, and going out and hitting trainers that way.
Yeah, I'll go through the charts and then immediately look for those horses next race, and then try to figure out where I fit in there. Maybe Manny Franco's got 2 mounts in that race, and I see that, try to go after one that I think I can get on.
Yeah.
And then also following your own business, or riders have, especially this time of year, Kentucky Downs coming up. I'm paying attention to horses that I think are going to be open, that guys who I know are going to be out of town, I can hopefully get on their mounts here.
That's interesting. Very interesting. So you're not looking necessarily at 4 days away when the
I'm looking like 3 weeks ahead. Yeah. It's like 3 weeks ahead.
That's very
2 to 3
interesting.
weeks.
And I know I think it was last summer I had your dad in here. That was a great interview. And at the time, I think he was helping you out.
Yeah, he still does. He still does. Yeah, helps me with some of the book work, and it's awesome. Yeah, we get to talk a lot. So
excellent.
It's a lot of fun.
And I think I saw him. He was in town here earlier.
Yeah, he was helping me. I went home for my birthday. Spent my birthday at home with my wife. So I went home for 10 days, and he came up here. I gave him the playbook, and he helped me out.
There you go.
He showed up when we won a stake race, so maybe I should send him back in.
There you go. Where is home? Florida still?
Yeah, South Florida.
Very good. And speaking of that, I know I've seen you here quite a bit during the meet, and I keep saying we'll get you plugged in, and here you are today. But give us a little feel for during the year. Again, the summer, you got these 8 tracks. The rest of the year, it's similar, I'm assuming. But how much travel do you do during the year?
I didn't do much travel this past winter. I went to Arkansas a couple times. I went to Kentucky a couple times, but I was working Gulfstream. So fortunately I was able to be there and working. And that's really like in the wintertime, that's the most important racing going on. A couple trips to New York, like maybe once a month. So I would say I try to make it to each place about once every month, you know. And when I go on the trip, I'll just kind of like knock them all out in one big circle.
And before I let you go, I have to ask you, because as you say, you've been coming to Saratoga since you were a kid with your dad. You know, you visited racetracks around the country and beyond, and just give us some thoughts of Saratoga.
Yeah, I mean, this is my favorite place in the world. I mean, there's nothing better than it. I mean, especially as a kid, you know, growing up, this was like summertime, you know.
Yeah.
We come up to Saratoga, and it was the start of the summer for us. So a lot of great memories. Friends I got to grow up with, you know, we all grew up here together. Migliori's kids, the Davises, Nader, you remember Bill Nader?
Sure.
You know, I grew up with his children, Luzzy's children as well, you know, so a lot of really, really great memories. And every summer you come back and nothing changed, you know, the place looks exactly the same outside of the 1863 club. So it's like nostalgia every time you walk back into the grandstand.
And I'm curious because I always say one of the fun things about this is outside the fence. You're downtown and you're eating dinner, and the people next to you are talking about their double and whatnot. But it's also fun because, you know, walking down Broadway, trainers and jockeys, and they get reaction from the crowd, from the people downtown and beyond as well. But you now, as a jockey's agent, have become well known enough. Do you get recognized if you're downtown?
Yeah, I would say so. In the track, yeah, downtown, yeah, definitely, which is always fun.
Yeah, because again, you have such a unique spot as a jockey agent. There's been a lot of press about it and whatnot. And so I wondered if that didn't make sense.
The hair and mustache doesn't help me. It's pretty distinctive.
That works. That works. Again, Jose Santos Jr., jockey agent for multiple jocks, and Chris Elliott and Ray Lou up here during the summer, but again, beyond as well. Wanted to, again, have you in. I've been talking about it all summer long, but it's just fun to kind of talk and just get an insight, because as I say all the time, I like to, on this show kind of things that people don't understand. I think the jockey agent side of the game is something that people may not know about, because a lot of folks that are watching us are newer fans, and so it's fun to kind of introduce them. And why not introduce them to the guy who's really doing it at a whole new level? So, again, we thank you for stopping in. Wish you a lot of good luck the rest of the summer and beyond with the jocks.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Jose Santos Jr., again, you can catch his jockeys here and at 7 other tracks this summer. So keep your eyes on those going forward. Wish him a lot of good luck. All right, we'll take a break. John Piassek is in the house. We'll talk a little Maryland racing, maybe some ideas for this afternoon. All of that and more when we continue. Stay tuned. It's been referred to as possibly the best equine-themed gift shop on the planet. Impressions of Saratoga. Impressions of Saratoga, celebrating the Saratoga and equestrian lifestyles. It's your number one choice for Saratoga souvenirs, apparel, and gift shopping. We have gifts for the entire family, and we're pet-friendly too. Visit us online at impressionssaratoga.com or come on down. Impressions of Saratoga, 368 Broadway, downtown Saratoga.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
Are you kidding me? Passion.
Congratulations, and here is your Horse Player of the Year.
To compete in Las Vegas this past March is an honor I will never forget.
You just won the NHC by 84 cents. Wow. Oh, that's, holy wow.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. Again, as we promised before the break, it's our friend John Piassek, who we have by phone or by Zoom or whatever multiple times when we're down in the studio, do a little handicapping maybe for some Maryland or maybe some Yonkers. And we missed you our springtime visit at Yonkers. You were over on the TV side of things. And
yes, I was on the simulcast show with good old Pete Benaglio. But now back here, it's my annual weekend up in Saratoga, and I'm super excited to be here. Thank you again for having me on.
We're happy to have you on, and we'll talk a little Maryland racing. You got a couple ideas for today as well. But before we do that, again, you're now tied in earlier with Maryland racing, so we'll hit on that. But now you're down at Yonkers again. Our visit this spring was a lot of fun. It always is. But big day coming up down at Yonkers.
Yes, on September 12th, it's the Yonkers International Trot. Trotters from all over the world going the mile and a quarter. Also, two other big races on the card. We have the Aria Pace and the Vicuña Trot for some of our best domestic paces and trotters, plus the New York Sire Stakes finals on that afternoon. It is going to be an 11:50 first post time. We've already announced 4 out of our 10 invitees. Hoping to have the field locked down pretty soon, and it's going to be a great day. So I'm excited.
On the harness side of things, that's always a big day. The international is always a lot of fun. The mile and a quarter, a little bit different.
Yep.
But to bring the international on, we were down 1 or 2 of the internationals. We went down and covered them live, and it was a lot of fun. Nice crowd there, and a daytime card. So looking forward to that coming up sooner rather than later, as it were. I'm curious on the harness side of things. Any thoughts on the Hambletonian announcement?
I mean, I grew up going to the Meadowlands, so it is hard to see the race go somewhere else. And I mean, I'll just say that it's kind of surprising, and I'm not quite sure what the future is going to hold, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, that was kind of my take this morning when I mentioned on the handicapping show. We'll see how it all plays out vis-a-vis New Jersey overall and whatnot. But Hoosier does a great job. Gabe Pruitt's out there. They do a great job, so we wish them good luck, certainly. Let's talk a little Maryland before we get into Timonium, Maryland Million, and whatnot. I pulled up a little footage. It was from one of the local channels down there just within the last couple of weeks, Fox 45 down there. They had a little video of the work going on at Pimlico, and that's going to be the game plan. Laurel will be sidelined, and Pimlico will be the place. I'm really intrigued to see what they do. I'm anticipating a nice new facility, and, Preakness going to be the highlight there. There was the big announcement on the Preakness moving a little bit. But, again, what's Maryland racing looking forward to as far as the new Pimlico?
Well, I will say I think a lot of folks in Maryland were kind of blindsided by the announcement made a week and a half ago about the new series, because folks in Maryland take a lot of pride in the Preakness being part of the Triple Crown, because the Triple Crown is of course, ostensibly the biggest event in racing. It's kind of the connective tissue between us and the mainstream sports world. It has a ton of prestige. And yet it feels like there's been apathy from at least some players in racing, as evidenced by this new series, which includes the Derby and the Belmont, but not the Preakness. So in this world, both the MJC and the state of Maryland, which has taken a very vested interest in the Preakness and a new Pimlico, which is very helpful, have to do what's best for their race. And I think the new date, which is going to be Memorial Day Sunday next year, May 23rd, is a great idea. There's usually not a lot of big races on any Sunday, let alone Memorial Day Sunday. It enables a Black-Eyed Susan to move to Saturday and get on main NBC, which is a huge deal. And they've talked about making all of Preakness Week a huge event week in Maryland. A big buzz phrase around was bucket list week. Like, they want folks from all over the country to come there that week, like folks come here on Travers Week, or like folks go to Keeneland on Bluegrass Week. So we're definitely looking at it with a very positive spin. I think that positive spin is well earned. I think it's great that Preakness is back under state control. And obviously this new series is a bit of a curveball, but I think there's still a lot of reason to be optimistic. And of course, that new TV deal includes both Federico Tessio Day and Maryland Million Day, which is an enormous deal for people who spend all year following Maryland, like myself.
Oh, we talked a little bit about that. Maryland Million Day is a big day down there. And of course, tip of the cap to Jim McKay. If folks don't remember, Jim McKay was the prominent ABC sportscaster there, but he was completely tied into Maryland racing. And I think Maryland owes a lot to Jim McKay, but Maryland Million certainly pays tribute to him as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it is unironically my Breeders' Cup. I look forward to it more than almost any other day on the racing calendar because it celebrates the people who make Maryland racing go. You know, it's for Maryland-style horses, so it celebrates local stallions. Most of the time, it's horses who you've seen racing at Laurel, Pimlico, and Timonium all year round. The fields are always tremendous. It's a fantastic betting day. It's going to be on October 24th this year. And I know TK Kugler, the head of the Maryland Million, has been working on a lot of really cool stuff. So it's going to be a great day as always. And the fact that it's now going to be in front of a national TV audience, that is just enormous. Back when it first started out, it was on ESPN back in kind of ESPN's early days. So to get it back, I mean, I'm not sure quite what that package is going to look like yet, if it's only on Peacock or like how that works, but either way, just getting it in front of people who ordinarily wouldn't even know it existed is huge.
Yeah, no, it's a big day and worthy of getting that kind of coverage. And horse racing does seem to be getting more and more of that national TV attention, which is great to see, certainly. And to throw the Maryland Million in the mix just adds to that. You mentioned Timonium. Give us a little. My colleague, Anthony Mormino on the Handicapping show, keeps saying he wants to get down there, but given that the Handicapping show and the timing, it's tough for him. But I think for all of us, it's a lot of fun to look at the pictures and see the Ferris wheel in the background. Talk a little bit about Timonium and what that means to Maryland racing.
Well, Timonium is exactly, opening day is exactly 2 weeks from today. It's going to be August 28th, 7 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Labor Day, Monday. I mean, outside of here, I don't have more fun at a track than I do at Timonium. You know, it's really like back to the roots, fair racing. They always get great crowds. Everybody there is having a good time. So, and kind of like a Maryland Million, it's a place to spotlight kind of the bread and butter people and horses of Maryland racing. And I was one of the honored handicappers back in 2023. I've done guest spots every year since, hoping to do the same thing this year. And you can find my Timonium picks and picks for all of Maryland on theracingbiz.com. We'll be back at Laurel on Friday, September 11th, and as I mentioned, a Maryland Million, October 24th. So circle the calendar.
Excellent. I was going to ask you about that. Frank Vesby's website, theracingbiz.com. You're a regular there with the Maryland racing circuit, and that continues.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and the picks are also published in the MJC's Daily Handicapping Guide.
Okay.
So either place, you can find my picks, my thoughts, and hopefully some winners.
Very good. And let's see if we can get some winners from up here. When you sat down, you said you had a couple ideas for this afternoon right up here at Saratoga. So let's dive in and see what you like. You had something in race two for me.
Yes.
I went with number 5, Early Autumn, who I thought had a little bit of early breeding. But when we were on the handicapping show earlier, I said, and I make breeding notes and whatnot, there are a number of different ways I could go in here. Interested to see your thoughts in race 2.
I mean, these 2-year-old maiden races with a lot of first-time starters can be tricky, but I'm very high on Early Autumn. She has been based at Parks for trainer John Service, and I always like it when 2-year-olds, particularly from Mid-Atlantic, come up here. I mean, we've seen Graham Motion do it twice so far at the meet. He sent first-time starters up from Fair Hill and won because they probably wouldn't make the trip all the way up if they didn't think their horse was the goods. This horse has been working well at Parks since late May. She has a ton of grass pedigree. Her dam was a stakes winner on the grass. 2 of her siblings have won on grass. One of them is a stakes winner on this surface. I'm kind of hoping that some of like the bigger names in here. I know that Jorge Delgado, who's good with first-time starters on grass, he has a horse. Mark Cassie's horse likely to take a lot of money as well. So I'm hoping to get a decent price on Early Autumn. And really, she's my key to the entire day. I think if I can make a big score on her, it'll set me up very well for the rest of the card.
I like it because, again, that's my top pick as well. You mentioned the dam. She was win early, ran second in her debut, then had a couple of wins right after that. Another sibling, Desert Duke, 8th in debut, but then second, third, and a couple of wins. Another sibling, Minute by Minute, won the career debut. So I thought there was win early. And that bullet work down at Parks, and I agree with you that they come up here off of that bullet work, I think is very intriguing. Now we just have to, now that both of us are on it, we have to hope the morning line of 4-1 holds up.
Well, you know, I know a lot of people watch this show, and I always let people watching my stuff and your stuff, but also you don't want to get too excited because you don't want to kill the price necessarily.
Yeah. Exactly. So we'll see how that all works out. It's a fun race 2.
Yes,
And then you had some thoughts as well in the 9th, which is the stakes race, the Smart and Fancy. These are the fillies, the 3-year-old and up fillies and mares going 5.5 on the grass. I went with Miss Vivienne coming in off the big win against the boys up at Woodbine in the Highlander. I think that was legit. Pietro Moran comes down for the ride. What did you see in the Smart and Fancy?
This is a really wide open and interesting race named after a Maryland bred, incidentally, Smart and Fancy, and won by another one, Future Is Now, a past 2 years, who's starting her broodmare career this year. Looking forward to seeing what she does for the estate of Larry Johnson.
Yeah, wasn't that Trombetta?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Originally, I liked Miss Vivienne. I really liked her last race at Woodbine. My concern with her is that she's kind of a lead type. All of her big races have come on the front end. She really hasn't proven that she can win a high-quality race from off the pace, and she is almost certainly not going to get an easy setup on the lead today. It's all from her direct outside, has a ton of early speed, as does Delightful Flame from her inside. So unless one of them scratches or just completely misses a break or something, she's going to have to fight hard for the lead. And it's entirely possible that she's good enough that she'll be able to shake them off and win anyway. But it's going to be hard to take a proposition like that at a low price. So I am going to try to beat her, and if she beats me, good for her. I ended up going with the 4, La Amazonia on top of Florida Shipper for Victor Barbosa. She does kind of have an unsightly number of seconds. In her grass career, she has won once in 8 starts, coming second 5 times. But she has good tactical speed. She sat just off the pace in her last 2 starts at Gulfstream and finished second. And with all those speeds in here, I think the race just falls into her lap. I don't know. She's no one's likely winner necessarily, but she's 8-1 on the morning line. I think Miss Vivienne and Zaitlos, who also has a lot of closing speed, but probably should have won last time out and didn't, and she'll be another low price here. I think those fillies are going to take a lot of money. So I think if I can get anywhere near 8-1 on La Amazonia, I think that's a pretty square deal, and she'll be my top pick.
Yeah, I think you'll get that given the field. And it is interesting. Another one coming in from out of town was working down at Gulfstream, and they like to come up and take the shot here. Junior Alvarado having good meet, so can't argue that one is certainly interesting. I will ask you, you're up here now for the live visit, but assuming maybe you were watching some racing last weekend, any thoughts on the Whitney and Sovereignty?
I mean, I am still a little annoyed at Sovereignty for skipping the Preakness last year, but I do have to tip my cap to him. He is a fantastic horse. That was a real gut test race for Whitney.
Absolutely.
And he answered a question with flying colors. I thought Nitrogen might have been the best in that race. She was on a very hot pace. Everybody else in that race kind of backed up, kind of fell into Sovereignty's lap, but Nitrogen held on very well and finished second. So I certainly think she's worthy of taking another shot against the boys. If she goes in a race like, say, the Spinster and has to come out and wins, I think you have to at least think about a Breeders' Cup Classic with her. So I guess we'll see how that plays out. And of course, the Deterministic is very sneakily making a Horse of the Year case after his 4-star Dave win. I mean, it's yet another stakes win for him. He's been just fantastic on the surface for the past year. I know he's not a slam dunk to go in the Breeders' Cup Mile, and I know the Woodbine Mile is next for him, and then we'll see what Miguel wants to do. But if he can win his next 2 races, and if something kind of funky happens in the back half of the year, I think he's got a very strong case as the best horse in the country.
Super consistent. There's no question about that. It was fun to watch that victory the other day. On the turf division, he and Burnham Square are right there. So, yeah, it's going to be fun to see how he continues. As you said, they're looking at the Woodbine Mile next for Deterministic. It was a fun weekend. Last week, Explorer looked great in the test as well for Bob Baffert. So it was a nice weekend, certainly. John, appreciate your visit. Always fun to have you live. As I say, we talked to you during the year, plenty talking Maryland racing via phone or whatnot, but fun to have you here live, and certainly wish you a lot of good luck and fun this weekend up here at Saratoga. We'll talk again.
Sounds great, Seth. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Enzo Tirino is in the house. We'll talk Therapeutic Horses of Saratoga. Again, they're at the community booth today. They have the farm tour tomorrow and more. All of that coming up right after this. Stay tuned.
Why just watch the races when you can be in the middle of the action? For nearly 20 years, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program has made thoroughbred ownership affordable for the everyday fan. Ownerships of 5 and 10% are now available on a nice selection of horses. As a partial owner with Bonaventure Stables, you'll enjoy all the benefits afforded every owner. Visit with your horse in the private stable area. Greet the trainers and jockeys in the paddock. And when your horse wins, savor the moment in the winner's circle at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, or wherever you bring home the prize. Based in historic Saratoga Springs, Bonaventure Stables has been training winners and creating memories since 2005. Learn more, see available horses, and meet our team at bonaventurestables.com.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
Welcome back. As promised before the break, joined now by Enzo Tirino from Therapeutic Horses of Saratoga. They have some things coming up that I wanted to hit on, including tomorrow. There's a farm tour. Hit on all that and more. Good morning.
Hey, Seth. Thanks for having us, man.
Happy to have you on board. Before we get into what's coming up, I have pulled up the video I took last year, a couple years ago. I was out there for a little tour. It may have been a couple of years ago because the barn was still under construction in this video. But we can play the video and give people a little look at THS right just outside of Saratoga. Great facility out there. But give us a little overview of, kind of the mandate of Therapeutic Horses of Saratoga.
Yeah, so like you said, we're really close to town, maybe three mile drive, if that. We have 27 beautiful acres located right before you hit Schuylerville. And our thing at Therapeutic Horses of Saratoga is equine-assisted psychotherapy. On top of all the therapeutic programming we have going on, there are a ton of school groups who come, a ton of corporate groups. There are retreats happening on the farm almost daily. So it's really a great sanctuary for our retired racehorses, but also for the humans who get to experience it.
And a couple of weeks ago, I had Matt Miller on, who a big contest player, big player in general, but he donates to THS. And he went out for his own visit and had a little therapy session, and he was giving you guys a thumbs up.
He loved it. He came back inside the barns when he was done. He was kind of blown away by the whole thing, as is everyone who visits the farm. I use the word magical just because I've only been there for 2 short years, but even myself there every day, you go out into the paddocks, just hanging out with the horses. It's like the backside here a little bit, but it's way more serene. There's not as much action, but they like it like that. It's their retirement village. So.
And I always note for people who aren't familiar, they are not blindfolded. They are wearing fly masks, which are mesh and they can see through, but the flies then don't bother them. So I want to make that clear for people who don't know. I've been out a few times, including when I taped that, and boy, it's a beautiful facility. It just
really is.
It is calming, and the game plan is help the horses, the retired race horses, and help the humans. And I think you guys do a great job with each of those.
So, helping the horses, healing the humans. That's our motto.
There you go.
Yeah.
And as I say, beautiful facility. I've been at a few times. Last year, I was there, not just kind of touring, but I was there for the concert last year, which was a little bit later in the season. This year, unfortunately, I had some family in town, and I couldn't make it. You moved it to coincide with the season. So it was a couple of Saturday nights ago out there, your big annual charity concert.
Yeah.
Give us a little recap.
Yeah, we had American Idol winner, season 11, I think it was, Philip Phillips. He was amazing. The setting was perfect. The sun was coming down. The weather was like a cool 72 degrees. Sun was beautiful. People enjoyed it. We had vendors from all over the place. Franklin Square Market was there. Neighborhood Kitchen, one of our favorites. So yeah, we had a great time. Ben and Jerry's, people love ice cream. So Philip Phillips had a great time. We started off with the Wallies, who's kind of a local band favorite, and Katie Gallagher, newcomer coming out of Albany. She was a great kind of leading solo guitarist. So it was a great night for a great cause, obviously. There were a lot of people on the property, 500. So sorry you missed it this year.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed it too. Again, I was planning to come, and then I had my sister popped into town, and so I was having dinner with her, and I kept looking at the watch, and I just
all right.
was not going to make it, but I highly recommend it.
I think the timing was great this year because there were a lot of folks in town, obviously, for the meet, so worked out really well.
And I was going to ask you, that was the game plan, to kind of overlap and maybe introduce some of the folks who are gone by the time it has been held, but are clearly horse people, obviously, being here at the track. And it sounds like you guys had a great crowd, and it's a great introduction to the facility. Again, the one I was at last year, it was a great fall night, and it was a big crowd, but it does sound like I had another big crowd there today, which exposes people to the facility. And so hopefully that turns out to maybe get some more donors involved, because again,
that would be great.
You guys do some great work. If folks want to know more about the place, I think we have a graphic with the website, so you can learn more if you go to the website. You can also donate there. But tomorrow you guys will be at the community booth right over here.
Yeah, right when you walk in the main gates on Union Ave, we're straight ahead. The community booth will be there. We'll have some goodies for folks. We'll get to tell you a little bit more about what we do and the stuff that's going on the farm, and talk a little bit more about our retired racehorses. So.
And again, that's the Jock Silks room. The community booth is out there. So stop by and check out, get a little more information about THS. And again, that's tomorrow. I think I said earlier it was today, but tomorrow, the community booth over there. But also for folks who, it's a big race day, but if you're taking a day off or, you just want to go a little bit earlier and then come to the races later, you have a farm tour coming up tomorrow as well.
From 12 to 4 tomorrow. It's part of Cornell Cooperative Extensions of Saratoga County's annual farm tour. So they visit about 4 to 5 different farms in the area, and they're pretty much self-guided tours. So folks can come to our farm and enjoy basically an open barn. We'll have folks around there telling you what we do and guiding you through and meeting all of our herd. And it'll be a fun day. Weather's going to be perfect tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. And again, that's tomorrow afternoon.
And you might still have time to hit the Lake Pick 4 if you come back. So there's still time.
On Saturdays over here, you'll definitely have time.
You got time.
And again, this is right out Route 20. I mean, it's just right outside Saratoga. It's not that far from the track, actually. And again, folks, check the website. You have tours that happen at various points during the year as well.
For sure, yeah. This will be our third open barn of the year. So, throughout the year, we have therapeutic programming, groups that kind of sign on to visit the farm. So there's not really a chance for folks to visit just freely.
Right.
But this gives them that opportunity. So it's a great chance for folks of all ages to come over, family, kids, anybody you want to bring. We'll be there from 12 to 4 tomorrow. Like I said, you could probably squeeze in the Lake Pick 4, definitely Lake Pick 3. Yeah. So it'll be a good time.
Yeah, so keep that in mind for tomorrow. Another nice event that is held annually, but this year it's a little bit at the end of the meet, whereas typically it's at the beginning. That Satins and Silks 5K is coming up early in September.
Yeah, FC4 events, they put it on every year. Normally in the beginning of the meet, usually around early to mid-July. This year they switched it up a little, and we're going to have a great time over at Fasig-Tipton is where it starts. It's a 5K. People love it because it's kind of like a flatter course. So give them a shot at fc4events.com. Check it out.
And again, that will be September 5th. Starts at 8 a.m. Right at the Fasig-Tipton Pavilion. Meet over there and benefits Therapeutic Horses of Saratoga. So worth it if you want to go out, get a little exercise.
Yeah, we're excited.
Hopefully a nice morning.
Actually, so that same morning, we'll have 2 of our retired thoroughbreds at the museum. There is a Children's Day happening literally 2 hours after the race.
Oh, cool.
So go do the 5K, then come see 2 of our former retired racehorses.
The National Museum.
National Museum race.
Again,
right down the
street. Aren't familiar, it's right across the street from the track. Oh, that'd be fun. Go to the race, go over and meet a couple of the horses as well. Enzo, appreciate the visit. Again,
you,
we'll
Seth.
tell people to visit the website for more information, or if you'd like to donate, because, again, you guys do great work. Retired racehorses, helping the people as well. Always happy to kind of tout when things are coming up at THS, Therapeutic Horses of Saratoga.
We appreciate this so much.
Oh, I'm happy to do it. Again, it's a great organization and local, so always important as well. Appreciate the visit. We'll talk again.
Thanks again, sir.
All right. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll do a little news and notes on the day and send us off into a beautiful Friday afternoon at the racetrack. So stay tuned.
You like free money? Well, Capital OTB gives its players plenty of opportunities to cash in. At Capital OTB, there are so many ways for horse players to receive bonus dollars by simply participating in promotions such as our bankrolls, bounty bets, online handicapping contests, and much, much more. Plus, with Capital OTB's player rewards program, you get actual cash back. So what are you waiting for? Log on today at capitalotb.com or capitalotbbet.com and claim your free money.
Are you kidding me? Cashew.
Congratulations, and here is your Horse Player of the Year.
To compete in Las Vegas this past March is an honor I will never forget.
You just won the NHC by 84 cents. Wow. Oh, that's holy wow.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. Again, I keep harping on it. It is a gorgeous day. Temperature is very comfortable. Humidity is more reasonable than it has been the past, well, really almost the whole meet. But it's a really nice day, and looking forward to a nice Friday of racing into a nice Saturday of racing. But I do want to remind you that, it's always a big weekend here at Saratoga, but it's a big weekend with our friends north of the border at Woodbine as well. It is King's Plate weekend up there, but that means it's a nice stakes day all around tomorrow up at Woodbine. Oh, and we'll have Keith McCalmont join us tomorrow, now with the NYRA press office, but back in the day, our first visits up to Woodbine, Keith was in the press office up there. So who better to reach out to than Keith, get some of his thoughts on the King's Plate. And a couple of years ago, he sat in and gave us some thoughts on King's Plate Day. It might have still been the Queen's Plate then. It was 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, and he gave out a really good one on the undercard as well. So we'll try to get some ideas from Keith tomorrow. But again, tomorrow at Woodbine, lots of nice stakes races, including the Canadian Grade 2 event, as they will go on the turf course for $200,000. Eponine for Kevin Attard comes in off a nice win right here at Saratoga for Mike Rapoli. Now goes up to try stakes action up at Woodbine, where Kevin Attard is based. So, and this horse had been working. Came down and won it at Saratoga, but had been working at Kevin's base up in Woodbine. So that one is certainly intriguing. Proctor Street for Brendan Walsh comes in off a 7th in the Della Rose here, but that was kind of one it looks like you could draw a line through. The races just before were very good. So that one also player. Lupa for Josie Carroll, coming in off a second place, close-up second place, finishing a stake up at Woodbine. So they're a nice competitive field in there. The Canadian race number 8 on tomorrow's card. The Catch a Glimpse is for the 2-year-old fillies, going 6.5 on the grass. And as you would expect, they're mostly lightly raced. But in fact, there's one first-time starter. Mark Cassie has a first-time starter in there. We'll see if that one goes. And you would think would stand a very good chance if it goes, being a Mark Cassie runner. I'm sure he's not going to take a shot unless he believes in that one. That one's Humble and Kind, the first-time starter. But Maloney for Kevin Attard, X-Men Racing, Matacat and Company, off a pretty good-looking debut back at the end of June. Debut win. So steps into Stakes Company, but probably deservedly so. Liberty Beach for Mark Cassie off a maiden breaker last time in the second start of the career. Also interesting. Again, as is typical with these lightly raced, these 2-year-old stakes at this time of year, lightly raced, but they've shown some ability. So the Catch a Glimpse is certainly intriguing on Saturday. And then the King's Plate, nice field in here of 12 entered. And the favorite at even money, Josie Carroll's filly, coming off a win in the Woodbine Oaks, won the Celine just before that, 4 of 5 so far in the career, working very well. So Luster as the filly, the even money favorite in the field of 12 in here in the King's Plate. Ricciotto also looks to be a player coming in off a grade 3 win most recently up at Woodbine. Again, a field of 12 in here. Should be fun. King's Plate, that's tomorrow at Woodbine. So I wanted to alert you to look at that card as well. Tomorrow up here at Sarah. Today it's the Smart and Fancy. Tomorrow, which we've talked about earlier on the handicapping show and whatnot. Tomorrow it's the Christophe Clement. Love that they named a race for Christophe Clement. And in this one, 1.5 miles on the grass. I went with program trading, but Servy off the win in the Glens Falls just a couple of weeks ago is going to be interesting if they elect to go. And I would think they would be well met, given that they entered. The Galway is also tomorrow, 5.5 on the grass for the 3-year-old fillies. Moana Loa is intriguing to me for Mark Cassie. Coming off an optional claiming win on the synthetic up at Woodbine, and maybe just appreciated the different surface because the buyer went forward. I'm kind of thinking third race of the career, the light bulb moment, so to speak, but we'll find out more tomorrow there. And then coming up on Sunday here at Saratoga, the Mahoney grade 3 event, $225,000 for the 3-year-olds, 5.5 on the grass. Outfielder going out for Wesley Ward off a try at Ascot in June. That wasn't inspiring necessarily, but it was Ascot. The races just before that at Turfway in Churchill, tout outfielder is likely the one to beat in there. Stradale for Steve Asmussen is a little bit interesting as well. Learn to Discover won the quick call last time for Brendan Walsh and certainly deserved the shot there. So that's Sunday here at Saratoga, the Mahoney. All right, let me give you a little update on promos and events here at Capital OTB over the next few days. Today, it's the Players Bankroll. You enter, you put your name in the hat. If you're selected for the team, you get a race and some money to play. Every dollar that is won goes into the kitty, and that's all split up amongst the team at the end of the day. The Players Bankroll, I know during the meet, has done well a few times, so we'll see if we can get that going again today down at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Tomorrow, the Bounty Bet returns up here at Saratoga. It's going to be the late pick 5. Just play it with your Capital OTB bet account, and you're in for a shot at that 1,200-plus bounty. So, again, late pick 5 at Saratoga tomorrow. Play with your Capital OTB bet account. Tomorrow at the Clubhouse Racebook, King of the Hill. Nice little pot of money available there for you to take a shot at if you'd like to stop down at the Racebook, watch the races there from the various venues, maybe grab a little lunch at Black Bear and take a pop. King of the Hill, that's tomorrow and Sunday at the Racebook. It's the $100 win-a-bet contest as well. So, again, throughout the Saratoga season, plenty of promotions and events all around, but certainly at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue. All right, we're going to wrap things up for this Friday. Been a fun morning. Hopefully we gave you some good ideas. Cash out this afternoon, and we will do it all again tomorrow. 9 a.m. handicapper support, 10 a.m. Racing Across America. See you then.
You've been watching Racing Across America. Racing Across America has been brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. When you can't make it to the track, make it to the Clubhouse Racebook. CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today.